Okay, so this week we are going to cover another very important concept, which is a function in the JavaScript. So let's share this. So I think you have learned this maybe during the lecture, and this recitation is going to cover the content on chapter 19. And you can see this picture. Where's my? Okay, it's right here. So you can see there's a signature. You can see there's a blue color function, and after this function, there's a show message, and this one is the name of the function. I mean, you could name it in another format. Maybe you could just change it. Maybe you don't want this name. You could change it. And another thing is this parameters. And for this show message function, the parameters is empty because there is nothing needed to be transferred into this parentheses. Transferred into these functions. So basically, what this function do is that we call this function, and this function will output a string, which is hello everyone, by using the alert function inside this function. And in the bracket, so this is a open bracket, and this one is closing bracket. So in between these two brackets, it is the body of the function, which is a main part of the code. Okay. You could pause here and just read it through. So the idea that the function is like ATM, and we write a function and we just store it like a storage. So in most cases we don't use it, but when we need to use it, we just go into the ATM. Maybe you want to withdraw some money, and you just input the number you want to withdraw, which is you could say it is like parameters. Maybe I want to withdraw maybe $100, and this number will be my parameters. And I mean, in my example, the function is ATM, so in the body part it's going to output the real money, which is $100 bills, and I just got this bill from this ATM machine. Okay, so I like to assume that the function is like ATM, like for the storage purpose. It's like a black box. I mean, you don't need to actually know how it works inside. You just need to input the parameters and maybe just revoke or call this function name, and you get the result you want. That's where this is like the black box. Okay. You could pause here and just read it through. So the code inside the function will execute when something invokes the function, which is I say calls, or you could say invokes. So the function is like storage, and when you need to use it, you just call it by calling the name. Maybe for this example, it's a show message. So yeah. Okay, so this is a skeleton for the HTML, and because we want to write the JavaScript, so there is script tag inside this body tag. So on the right side, there's a picture. So maybe there's a function y equals to x to the power of 3. So if I say the input for this function is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, and the output is going to be 0, 1, 8, 27. So actually we just don't know what is exactly code inside this function. We just input something and we get this output. So yeah, it's this function is like a black box. Yeah. So I have two formulas right here. So on the top, this one is we learn from mathematics. So we have y equals to x to power 3. And the bottom one is the JavaScript code. We cannot write it like the mathematical one because the computer cannot recognize the x equals x power to the 3. So we do like y equals to x times x times x. So we do it like in this way. Okay. So this is the second one will be our JavaScript code instead of the first mathematical method. Okay. So I have write something. So cuber. So this is a HTML skeleton, and we have like script tag, which means this part is going to be JavaScript code. So as I said earlier, let me check. As I said earlier, we have like a function signature to tell us this part is going to be a function. So function, and after that is the function name. I name it cuber, or you could name it whatever you like. So but I just name it cuber, and this part is going to be the parameters. In the earlier slides, I have nothing in the parameters because this function is just simply output this sentence, hello everyone. But for this cuber, I want to input something, and it's going to return the number to the power 3. So if I input this number, I want to return the power to the 3 result. So this part is going to be the body of this function. So this one is like a storage. We don't use it for right now. So it's quiet. It's static. Okay, we didn't call it. And for the following thing, I declare a variable my number equals to 7, and I use document.write to output the following thing on my browser. So the cube of my number, which is 7, is cuber my number. So I think this part is pretty important because what I say by cuber is that I call the function name. So I write cuber right here, but the meaning, the purpose of it is that I call the function name cuber on the top. You see? So I call this function name, and this part is gonna be my parameter, and my parameter is this 7. So what I did right here is that I call this cuber function, and I transfer this variable 7. I mean, the variable name is my number, so I transfer this variable as a parameter for this function. And after I do that, everything will go into this part. So I got a 7, so just return 7 times 7 times 7, and the result is going to be transferred right here. So because we have return, I return to this function, and just return right here. Okay, so let's check. Where are you? Recitation. Okay, I think this one. So the cube of 7 is 343. Okay, it's 343. And this function, which is document.write, is the usage of it is to display the following thing on the screen. Okay, so this is the first one, cuber. It's pretty easy. I mean, we just have a storage, and right here we just call this function. We have like 2 steps. First one, we write the function as a storage, and second one, we just call this function by transfer the parameters inside the function. Okay. Okay, problem 2. So if any of you are in the business school, I think you'll be familiar with this one. But actually, to be honest, I don't quite understand the meaning of this. So what I learned from this picture is that I have a C, amount deposit, and a T, number of years deposited, and R, annual interest rate, and N, number of payments per year. So I have like these 4 like variables or parameters, you could say. Okay. And for the problem 2, I think I have uploaded like a skeleton on the canvas. So so you have like let's say right here. I mean, if you like, you could download this file with me when you watch the recitation, but it just depends on you. Okay, so I have this right here. Okay, so I want to finish this formula. I want to write a JavaScript code representing this mathematical formula inside my HTML file. So before that, I want to introduce another built-in function, which is a math.pow. So for example, if I want to represent 5 square, which is 5 to the power of 2, which is 5 times 5 equals to 25. So in order to represent this one, we could use this function, which is math.pow. So the first one, 5, which is a base number, and the second one is like the power number. Okay, so math.pow 5 2, which represents the 5 to the power of 2 right there. So see, pretty easy. So let's go to the code directly, and I mean, I want to show you first. I want to do the demonstration. So okay, so initial deposit, I mean, I want to deposit $100. Oh, a sec. Initial deposit 100, 1 year, rate equals to 0.1, and 1 payment per year. So I got the total amount, which is 110. Okay. This is my demo. So let's go back to the code. So for the first, I have like a function. All right. So for the function, I have like function signature and the name of it, and I have like four parameters, CTRN, as I mentioned earlier. So I have CTRN as my 4 parameters. And in the body part, I have a total deposit equals to, which is basically this formula. So you have like say parentheses 1 plus r divided by n parentheses to the power of n times t. So I have let's say times okay, so power math.pow. I have 1 plus r divided by n as a base number, so I have a base number right here, and I have n times t as a like power number. So second parameter is going to be the power number. Okay, so I have say multiply the following thing, which is exactly this formula. Okay, and after I do this, I represent this mathematical formula by JavaScript code. I just return this variable. Okay, so this is a function storage, and for the next, I have this four variables by getting data by using the prompt. I think you're familiar with the prompt. So basically, I just get these 4 variables from my keyboard. All right, and I use document write to display display the following thing on the browser. So blah blah blah. And the important thing is this one. So by calling iterate, I mean when I write down this iterate, what I did is just I invoke the function, which is right here, because we have the same name. So iterate, and I transfer these 4 variable names, which is original amount, years, initial rate, and pay year. These 4 variables, I copy the name and just write it right here, and just transfer for these 4 variables as 4 parameters, which is CTRN. And in the function, the body part will use the CTRN to do the calculation inside this function. So the CTRN actually has nothing to do with these 4 variables, because this one is like outside, but this one is like inside. So I mean, technically the original amount is equals to C, but they really has nothing to do. This one is just like outside version of C, and this is just like inside version of the original amount. It's just like a value transfer stuff. Okay. So you cannot use the CTRN in the outside. It's because it just doesn't make sense. So yeah. So what we did is just we transfer the value to the function, and we just use the parameters only inside the function. Okay. So I think this is iterate. I did a demo before, so I won't do it again. You could just go back to the video and just check it. Okay. And I think last week we covered the event-driven problem. So earlier, I hope you downloaded the file I mentioned on the canvas. So if you download it, it looks like this. It's an event-driven. So it's going to look like this. So you basically input number, rate, and the payment. You just click the button to do the calculation. So and I have a solution version right here. So I have 100, 1 year, 0.1, 1 payment, and calculate. We get the same answer for the first version. So, but this one is like an event-driven version. It's more straightforward because everything is on the same web page. So it's good. So you can see in the student version, actually we only need to finish 2 parts. So the first part is this function part. So you can see on the comments, put your code right here. Do not use mess around right here. And the second part you need to finish is this on-click, which is this button. Okay, so this is like 2 parts you need to finish. And I have a solution right here, so feel free to use it. So for the function, I basically copy this one and paste right here, so it is same actually. So, and in the button, I have on click, I have variable TOT equals to total with internet. We have this 4 variables. I transfer this 4 variables inside this function. Total with interest, and which is I call this function, and total TOT money, which is the ID for this text box. The value equals to TOT to fix 2. So TOT is this variable on the right hand side of equal sign, and we just transfer the value to the TOT money, which is the ID for the text box. Okay, so it is a material for the last assignment. We just have a combination for this week and the last week. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so problem 3. I say I want to calculate the volume of Great Giza Pyramid So I'm not sure if you know the formula for to calculate the pyramid or not. If you don't know, I have it right here. So it is area of the base area multiply the height and divide it by 3. So this is a mathematical formula. Oh, sorry. This is a formula to calculate the volume. Okay. And I have the data right here. So the base area is this number, and the height is this number. Okay. And if you want to do the wrong number rounding stuff, you could use this function math.round, and you just put the number in the parentheses. Okay. Okay, I think I finished this one. So as always, I have a function as a storage. So for this problem, the function is as always, is like a mathematical representation. So for this function, the name is volume pyramid, and the parameters, there are like 2 parameters. The first one is base area. The second one is the height. So after taking into these 2 parameters, so directly return, and after let's focus on. So we have base area times the height divided by 3. So it's pretty simple. So it's just like mathematical representation by the JavaScript. And we take 2 parameters from the keyboard. So we have the base and the height. We have these 2 variables, the data from keyboard, and we just use document.write to display everything on the browser. So we have the volume is n plus volume pyramid. I call this function name on the top, and I transfer these 2 variables inside the function. So I have a base and a height. The base is in the function is a b area, and then the height in the function is h. So I transfer these 2 values in the function, and I will get the answer by the return. Okay, so it's pretty simple. It's just like this one, but the logic is always the same. So I run this again. Where are you? So enter the base as a word. Okay, and the height. Okay, so the volume is this number. Okay. And if you want to run the number, you could use the math.round. Okay. Okay, so I think this is pretty much for this week's recitation. So we covered the function, which is very important. As I think, it's pretty simple. I think you just write a function as a storage. Maybe you could regard it as like a black box, and we have input, and this box just output something. So I think it's just pretty straightforward. Okay. And if you have some questions, just feel free to email me or your professor. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.